I've oh, okay. That's something in which I'm very aware of, and it's something that I want to get done as well for the respective PYCs across the council.
All right, over to you, Kevin.
Good night, Mr. Skin. All right, so a mixture of finance and technology is a process that I hold dear to my heart. Now, you did introduce digital tools. Well, you're talking about introducing digital tools for budgeting and probably expense tracking. However, many of the parachute councils across the country still struggle with basic financial training. How will you ensure that this modernization doesn't become another system that sounds good on paper but fails in practice?
I really appreciate that question, Kevin. And it's true, I like to say that a lot of times the reason why certain things fail is because, the important aspect is showing persons why it's important and how to use it. So going forward, won't just be a case where I'm creating something or the executives are creating something and just throwing it on persons. We're going to show them why it is useful for them to use it, what's important, of it in their overall PYC operations, and of course, providing training for them, not only for the system but also in basic financial literacy is something that will be done.
Your microphone is muted, Miss Fernando.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. That was Damoy Skeen vying for the position of financial controller. Thank you, Damoy. And once again, I want to repeat this evening's rule for this manifesto presentation. So each candidate has a fixed amount of time for their presentation. After each presentation, candidates will answer questions as outlined for their position. Each response is limited to 1 minute to ensure fairness and allow everyone an opportunity to participate. Questions must be asked in an orderly manner. Please use the raise hand feature and wait to be acknowledged by myself. And also, we encourage participants to listen attentively and ask thoughtful questions. So, let me just give you a rundown. I know some people are not acquainted with the candidates, and so we have vying for the position of Public Relations Officer. We have Javon Juman. We have Abigail Bailey for General Secretary. We have Dashawn Carter for First Deputy Chairman. We have Lakem Powell for Second Deputy Chairman. O'Shane Dixon for Second Deputy Chairman as well. We also have Christine Salman Neal for National Chairman. We have Michaela Brown for National Chairman and Laura Wilson for National Chairman. So we have a good lineup this evening, and I'm very much excited. I don't know if you're as excited as I am. So, guys, again, use the emojis, use up the chat, and just cheer on the candidates because we know that sometimes they can get a little bit nervous, but no worries, don't fear. All right, we're all here. So, at this time, we're going to take the candidates in this order. We have coming from for Public Relations Officer Javon Juman, then Abigail Bailey, then we have Dashawn Carter. So prepare yourselves in the meantime. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Javon Juman for Public Relations Officer. Over to you, Javon.
All right, good evening. May I be permitted to present my screen?
Most definitely.
Okay. All right, just waiting for the permission to be granted by the host.
I am not seeing your request, Javon.
Uh, I believe it is turned off for the general. All right, it's okay. I can present without. I'll just go
Okay.
ahead and start. All right, good
Okay.
evening, everyone. I am Javon Juman. I'm vying for the post of National Public Relations Officer, and I am just here to share simply what my plans are for the committee for the National Public Relations Officer. So very quickly, my vision is to transform the public relations arm of the National Youth Council of Jamaica into a dynamic, far-reaching, and professionally structured communications powerhouse. And I have capsulated 5 pillars to achieving this, and that would be for PRO training and capacity building for the parish PROs, restructured PR committee, youth club outreach and visibility activity, alumni legacy networking, and strategic media representation. So for my first pillar, it is for the training and the capacity building of all PROs within the parish. And my plan is simply to ensure that all parish youth councils are equipped with all the necessary resources and skills to ensure that the public relations of their council is being broadcasted. As we are, as the National Youth Council executive, we are going to be reliant on all of the parishes to push not just content, but to be seen, and that is the focus. And so we are proposing quarterly graphic design workshops, along with a lot of other resources to be handed off. Then we are looking at a restructured PR committee, whereby set responsibilities are allotted, whereby persons are aware of who is responsible for what, and we want to capture not just the deputy position, but content lead, social media manager, media relations, and alumni partners. And for all the parishes, we will have the responsible PRO as the liaison to ensure that activities happening. Then we want to move to the RISE initiative, which is basically us reaching out to all of the youth clubs across Jamaica to ensure that we have a database, an active database that is currently and actively rather being revised and edited and being added to. Then we want to have a starter club campaign, a parish roadshow, monthly spotlight series, engagement, and finally, before finally, we have an alumni legacy network and a strategic media representation. My plan is to ensure that in every aspect of the National Youth Council of Jamaica, we are seen, we are heard, and that our voices altogether is put together to make it large. So thank you very much, and I do hope in that short span of time that I have presented my plans effectively to you.
Thank you so much, Javon. So now, audience, over to you. You have 2 questions, and I see Mr. Kevin Pinnock with his question. You can go ahead, Kevin.
Audio check. Hearing me?
Hearing you.
I am hearing.
Yes. So my question is, I appreciate the enthusiasm from Mr. Drummond in regards to the media output that he'd like to produce based on each parish. But my question is, on a scale and the amount of content that you're referring to, how would execution be done? Because since all of these roles are voluntary and the amount of content that you're suggesting to be produced on that level of scale, how would you support each individual parish in that regard?
All right, I am really gonna ask you to repeat that. I realized that my audio went a bit low just now, and so I turned off my camera to be able to move a bit closer.
Okay. I'm checking again. You hearing me?
I am, yes.
Okay. So the amount of content that you're creating in terms of production across each parish, I'm asking how would you manage to get that work done? Especially in terms of voluntary work, since that level of content and media to produce would take a lot out of everyone. And how can you ensure its quality and so on and so forth?
Okay, thank you so much for that question, Mr. Pinnicon. That was an excellent point to raise. First of all, we want to ensure that all, as I was mentioned in my presentation, the PROs are not just equipped, but they have the resources to carry out their tasks and their function. So that level of training will, first of all, gear all of the PROs, the parish PROs across the nation, not just building the relationship between myself and them as the liaison for each parish, but also ensuring that they are all on the same mission, vision of the National Youth Council of Jamaica. So they will have an understanding as to the type of content we're looking for, the outreach activities that we are expecting from them, and capturing same so that the National Youth Council can be seen. I hope I have answered your question. And if not, just let me know if if further clarification is needed.
right. Thank you so much, Javon. Mr. Kevin Walters, you can go ahead with your question.
All right, I was going to ask a question, but I saw that Mr. Daniel Shankline that also wanted to ask, so I'll just give him my chance.
Okay, not a problem. Go ahead, Tamaro.
Okay, good night, Juman. Great presentation, by the way. But what I am trying to figure out, um, what is your stance on professional development for the PROs? What type of capacity building will you be implementing to ensure that persons are adept, especially for persons who are newer in the space?
Okay, and I am so happy that you asked that question because time would not have permitted me to go definitely through my plans for PRO training and capacity building, as you would have mentioned. Now, specifically for our parish public relation officers, my plan would be simply as I would have served as the St. Catherine Parish PRO, it is to enrichen the quality and the access to resources. And feel like I've been stressing this point a little bit too much, but it can't be stressed enough. Whereby I would want to have quarterly graphic design workshops prepared, whereby they are training in Canva and Adobe Express. And this is something that I would be picking up from as the PRO for the St. Catherine Parish Youth Council, where this was a major initiative that we had undertaken for the PROs for the youth groups within St. Catherine. Next, I would actually want to have master classes for the public relations, the PROs for the parishes, and this master class would cover various areas whereby they would be skilled to prepare documents. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You said enough. Thank you, Juman.
Thank you for that question. Yes, sir. And good night. Your mic is muted, Miss Fanning.
That seems like I have a microphone issue. Thank you so much, Javon, for your response to the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Javon Juman. Put your hands together for your PRO candidate. All right, thank you so much again, Javon. So over to our next candidate for General Secretary, Miss Abigail Bailey. Abigail, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, over to you. When you're ready, you may begin.
Mrs. Fennell, could you allow Shavoy to present for me, please?
Okay, Shavoy, for some reason I'm not seeing the request coming in. Are you requesting to share screen?
Good evening, Madam Fennell. It's saying that sharing is not turned on. The host isn't allowing sharing for this meeting.
Okay, just give me a minute.
All right, you can share now.
It's saying someone else is sharing. Host isn't allowing multiple presenters sharing for this meeting.
Oh, 1 second. Proceed.
Thank you. Please confirm that you're seeing my screen.
Yes, we're seeing.
All right, you can begin when you're ready, Abigail.
Okay. Good night, everyone. First, I'd like to apologize if my background is a bit noisy. I live on Hall, and I don't know what's happening outside. So, good night again. My name is Abigail Bailey, and I am offering myself up to serve as General Secretary of the National Youth Council of Jamaica. I believe that strong administration is the foundation of effective leadership. And tonight, I will share how I plan to strengthen the systems that support our council's work and impact. Who am I? I am a youth leader from Portland who is deeply passionate about service and community development. As the outgoing parish president of the Portland Parish Steering Committee, I have worked with my team and led initiatives such as the Little Leaders Awards, Labor Day Community Projects, and the Back to School Initiative. These experiences have helped to strengthen my commitment to youth leadership and meaningful impact. My vision is simple. It is to strengthen the vision, It is to strengthen the systems that allow the council to function effectively. When meetings are documented, communication is clear, and actions are followed through, and the council becomes more organized, accountable, and impactful. Efficiency begins with organization, and I will ensure that meeting minutes are accurate, timely, and properly structured. I will also promote standardized documentation practices across all levels of the council. This will help preserve institutional memory and ensure smoother transitions between leadership terms. So through a minutes to action initiatives, I will ensure that action items are tracked, deadlines are monitored, and progress is reviewed. This will strengthen accountability and ensure that our decisions leads to real results. Strong systems also require strong communication and record keeping. I will work to improve the existing digital record system and establish structured archives. I will also introduce a national communication calendar to improve coordination. And additionally, I will support parish secretaries by encouraging collaboration and sharing best practices. I intend to serve with integrity, diligence, and professionalism. This role is not about recognition, it is about service and responsibility. By strengthening structure, improving accountability, and enhancing communication, we can build systems that truly support youth development across Jamaica. John Quincy Adams once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Bailey. Audience, over to you with your 2 questions. All right, I see Mr. Kevin Pinnock. You may go ahead with your question.
So my question is a simple one in terms of the record keeping mentioned and the archives and so on. How would you go about creating the archives and maintaining them? Additionally, how do you feel about persons using AI generated material for this archive if it's of such importance to keep the records and history?
I'm sorry, could you please repeat the first part of your question? I didn't hear it clearly.
I was saying, what methods or technologies do you plan on using in regards to the archives and database upkeep? And additionally, how do you feel about AI generated material for the material since you're using it to refer to history and so on?
Okay, as it relates to the latter part of the question, as it relates to using AI generated material, I am a college student, so yes, we do use AI tools, but to offer assistance, not to do the work for us. So in in an in this instance, a little leniency would be fine, but not 100%. No, because then where is the authenticity if we're using straight AI for everything? I'm not sure if that answered the question. Did it?
That answered part of it, but the first part was, how do you plan to do the upkeep and maintain the records? What technology are you using for that? And data security and all of that.
All right, so should have completed our minute for that question. Sorry, we're gonna have to take the other question at this time. All right,
Hi,
so
good.
go
I'm
ahead,
so
Miss
sorry.
Minot.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Denisa Paul Minot, outgoing PRO for Clarendon. My question, you mentioned a calendar. How would that work? Because you know that sometimes the parishes don't have a full years of activities. You know, sometimes we plan it as we go along. How do you plan to structure your calendar if it is a case where the parish levels we do have something to give you? What's the plan for the calendar part of the presentation?
Okay, so while I do understand that not every parish will have something going right throughout the year, that's totally okay. How I plan on doing the calendar is I would use Google, because I think I would like to believe that every council has a Gmail, an email address. So if we are all on a shared calendar, whenever youth council is having an event, if they add it to the calendar, then every other council would have access to it, and we would see and we would know what a particular council is planning with details and all of that.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Bailey. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your candidate for General Secretary, Ms. Abigail Bailey. Please put your hands together for her. Thank you so much again, Abigail. And this is the order of the next set of presentation. We're going to have our first Deputy Chairman, Mr. Dashawn Carter, then our second Deputy Chairman, Mr. Lakem Powell, after which we'll have Mr. O'Shane Dixon for second Deputy Chairman as well. So over to you, Mr. Carter. You have 3 minutes, after which 2 questions from the audience. 1 minute to answer each question.
Okay, great. Just to confirm, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Give me a second. All right, good night, everybody. My name is Dashawn Carter, and I'm vying as your first Deputy Chairman of the National Youth Council of Jamaica. Now, we've heard about 20 presentations thus far, and everybody has shared their story and their dreams for their position. But today, I'm here to share my contract, my blueprint, and my idea of what the first Deputy Chairman portfolio should look like. And I call it the Carter's Constitution because it's binding and it's 6 pillars, 1 commitment, and 1 goal for commitment. So first off, we have connection. Okay, so first off, we have connection. Within the National Youth Council of Jamaica, we often herald ourselves as the umbrella organizations for youth across Jamaica. However, oftentimes it seems as if these organizations are isolated. And so to bridge this gap and to aid with the connections, I plan to, one, with regards to internal connections, build stronger support systems for our community-based youth organizations. And this will be achieved primarily through the development of a CBYO engagement policy. I've already drafted this policy and it has already been reviewed by members of the council. And it will essentially help to ensure that councils and steering committees in their engagement with the CBYOs are structured, robust, and consistent. I'll also extend and bolster external connections with other youth organizations that share the same mandate with the National Youth Council of Jamaica. I believe that a shared and collective voice of advocacy for youth across Jamaica is absolutely essential. And similar to that, regional connections is also important. We have a myriad of other youth organizations or youth networks across the Caribbean, and sharing ideas, sharing concepts, having a cross-pollination of minds is absolutely essential for our advocacy and for the work that we're doing. The second unit is for, I believe that the NRCJ this is just to ensure that young persons are connected, they're engaged with opportunities around employment. In fact, the National Youth Council has already been invited to serve on the steering committee for the National Employment Policy, and I myself have been invited to join the consultation for this policy process. And so I will use this as a stepping stone to advocate for greater employment opportunities for youth. And of course, just sharing opportunities, say for instance, within our WhatsApp community around the scholarships, around employment and other things that are beneficial for young people. And of course, mentorship is another important aspect. A lot of youth leaders go throughout their time as a youth, a cadre of brilliant and talented leaders within the NYCJ that can more than likely and more than be willing to provide support for these young leaders. So I will develop a structured mentorship program, which would pair emerging youth leaders with seasoned community builders that have the capacity to lead them in the right direction. My other pillar. Okay.
Time. Thank you so much, Mr. Carter. So we'll now take question from Mr. Cunningham at this time.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
My
afternoon.
question to you is, I've noticed that over the past year or so, we've seen a lot of activity from the National Council of Jamaica as it relates to different parishes. But we see a lot of isolated events and activities rather than a sustainable focus National Council of Jamaica that knows what they're about. I believe we have somehow lost the way as it relates to what we are for, as it relates to governance of the CBYOs. What is your plan as it relates to this? Bringing all the parishes to one standard and ensuring that we know what we're about. You are the chair for advocacy and so on in according to the bylaw. How do you plan on filling these gaps and ensuring that these things improve?
Very simply, two solutions. One, the engagement policy that I had suggested to provide routine, well, not routine, consistent engagement for all CBYOs across Jamaica that would ensure that our advocacy, our events, and our initiatives are all coordinated. I also want to create a sort of a policy board, for instance, where each year we ensure that we review or select three priority areas of advocacy and we build position papers around those priority areas so that our messaging and our perspectives around those areas are consistent and uniform. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
so
much,
much.
sir.
Any more question for Mr. Carter? All right, seems like that.
Since no one, okay.
Okay, go ahead, Malik.
Yes. So I noticed that being the first deputy chairman, it would make you the chairperson for the disciplinary committee. So my question to you is this. Have you any specific vision as to how you see the disciplinary committee handling matters for the incoming tenure?
Okay, yes, I do. And in fact, one of my pillars is integrity, and that deals with how I plan to manage and operate the disciplinary committee. I want it to be something that, say, for instance, you apply or you submit a complaint to the disciplinary committee. One, that complaint can be submitted in a streamlined manner, so the establishment of a complaints form. But also, you know exactly when your complaint would be heard. You know the turnaround time, and you know that your complaint will be adjudicated by, say, for instance, a panel of trustworthy and of persons that are positioned to hear your matter and to counsel you in an appropriate way. I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was your candidate for first deputy chairman, Mr. Dashawn Carter. Put your hands together for Mr. Carter. At this time, we are just going to pause for a minute and allow me to welcome our state minister within the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Minister Rhoda Moy Crawford. So at this time, I'm going to allow our state minister to bring greetings at this time.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, let me apologize for joining late. Miss Yannick invited me to be a part of the session, but of course, we had Parliament early, and then immediately after Parliament, I had another meeting. But having given my commitment, I said, let me log in and spend a few minutes. I'm just joining, so I have missed quite a lot, but I noticed that there are 100 participants online. Good evening, everyone. As a Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, I'm very excited about, working closely with the Youth Division and the young people. I am sure there will be other forums where I will get to meet some of those who I have not met. I was making a quick look at the participants list, and I see some of the names and of persons that I recognize. So, I'm very excited. I just caught on the last part of the presentation of one of the candidates. I'm going to be listening to the other presentations, and I really just want to wish each of you all the very best. And I want to salute and applaud all of you as youth leaders who have demonstrated your commitment, your passion, your drive to servant leadership. I know we're living in difficult times where it is much easier for young people to be attracted or drawn to the negativity. So when I see young people so passionate and want to be positive role models, it's really inspiring. And as youth, as state minister with responsibility for focusing on the youth and our young people across Jamaica, you have my commitment that you are going to be seeing more of me, and I stand ready to give support to our various youth group and to the youth division. I want to also salute Yannick, Simone, and the rest of the team for the excellent job that they have been doing with the youth division. So thank you for having me. I'm going to close back the microphone so that I can listen in some more.
Thank you so much, Minister, for gracing us with your virtual presence. We appreciate the words of encouragement and your support as well. So we will kick the ball again, and we are going to I want to introduce to you at this time Mr. Lakem Powell, candidate for second deputy chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Lakem Powell. Over to you, Lakem, when you're ready.
Good afternoon. Good night. Good night. I must firstly apologize for my tiredness. I was in transit from Manchester to make it back to the capital. I would like to also request Malik Harris permission to share and present the
Yes, you're
document.
able to share. Just proceed.
Not me, Malik Harrison.
Yeah,
Malik
man.
Harris.
Anyone that needs to present can share. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Is everyone seeing the presentation?
Seeing the screen, yes.
Perfect, perfect. Once again, good night. So Malik, you can just scroll to the second. There we go. So before you tonight is a young leader grounded in operations and project management, someone who has successfully executed multiple projects across Jamaica. But more than that, I stand here as someone who believes that the youth are the true treasures of this nation. I understand that the role of second deputy chair is not a title, but is a productive one as well that requires vision, coordination, and the ability to deliver impact initiatives across all parishes. And that is exactly what I bring: structure, execution, and results. Now, while time will not permit me to go into every detail of this manifesto, I welcome further discussion afterwards, but I will highlight my vision. Before I go further, I want to also acknowledge the work of the outgoing deputy, particularly in collaboration with OTPIM and strengthening of our youth through initiatives like Emerging Youth Leaders Awards. Now, the aim, Progressive Jamaica, can scroll on, Malik. Purpose-driven youth first, future ready. First, I will strengthen national unity and collaboration through a national youth conference, bringing together clubs across Jamaica for networking, idea sharing, and showcasing of youth excellences, including the expansion of initiatives like EYLA. Secondly, under environmental stewardship, I will expand my Project 1000 initiative from Manchester into a national reforestation movement, integrating sustainability into every club's agenda. Thirdly, I will advocate for the revitalization and refurbishment of youth innovation centers and the expansion of hybrid access so that young people, regardless of location, can access the tools they need to succeed. Fourth, I will focus on creation and revitalization of community-based youth organization, ensuring that inactive clubs are re-engaged and new ones are supported, especially in rural areas and unprecedented areas in each parish. Fifth, I will position clubs as center of education and skill advancement, bringing certification programs such as VTDI, ICT training, and vocational opportunities directly into these clubs, into these communities. Sixth, through club revitalization, I will introduce a structured quarterly impact program, ensuring that every club is active, visible, and make measurable contributions across Jamaica. And finally, as I will advance youth empowerment and leadership development by equipping clubs with disaster preparedness training, mentorship programs, and real leadership opportunity building on existing partnerships. But beyond that, we're talking about what makes us who we are. as a nation, we are from different demographics, but we all bleed the same. And as our motto says, out of many one people, we will unite Jamaica because at the end of the day,
Time. Thank you so much, Lakem. And before I take any question, so Lakem, you are able to answer two questions, one from your co-candidate if you have a question, and then just one question from the audience. So if Mr. O'Shane doesn't have a question, then the audience is able to ask two questions. Mr. Dixon, do you have a question for Mr. Powell at this time?
Yes, greetings and good night to everybody. So yes, I do have a question for Mr. Powell. All right, so the question that I have, so I would have seen in your manifesto a point that you made about revitalizing youth innovation centers and expanding hybrid access. I'm sure that this is something that has been said by a number of persons as well, including higher heads, as they would have seen the need for youth innovation centers and the purpose it serves for our youths. So, other than this being a word of mouth or this being just advocacy, how will you ensure that this is actually carried out by the relevant stakeholders, bearing in mind that all YICs across the country are in need of urgent revitalization and refurbishment? How will you accomplish this?
good question. And I'm glad that the state minister is also here for this. So basically, there's something that we need to address. There are a lot of parishes that are in dire need of a YIC. For the last council, they have really and truly just stated the obvious that we were in need of YUs. But also for YUs to be fully able to carry out their jobs within certain areas, you do need a space for this to happen. Good place to think about is Hanover. Hanover is already in dialogue about getting a YIC. I think construction is the only thing that's left. So if we can have a meet, sit down with the state minister and all other partners there is, we definitely can come together and state that, hey, this is not just something that is just needed to say this is a state of the art place, but it also means that the youth will now have somewhere to come to actually have access to mentorship, to everything that is
Time,
necessary for
Lakem.
them.
Time. All right, thank you so much for your response. I'll allow two members from the audience to ask questions. I see Shavoy has his hand was up first. So Shavoy, after you, then we have Rihanna.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Sir Powell.
Good
According to the
afternoon, sir.
bylaw of the National Council of Jamaica, you sit on the Financial Committee of the National Council of Jamaica. We currently notice that all parishes are grossly underfunded, and it's very difficult for them to do projects and operate. What is your plan as the person who sits on that financial committee to ensure that the parishes are funded properly and this fund is not a one-off thing, but it's actually sustainable?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear half of that question.
I said, let me repeat, sorry, I may be rushing. Most parishes are grossly underfunded. As the second deputy chair, one of your
Right.
responsibilities are to sit on the National Council of Jamaica Finance Committee. What is your
Finance
plan
committee.
as second deputy to ensure that when you are in office, the parishes are funded and not just funded as a one-off thing, but the funding is actually sustainable? What's your plan for that?
Okay, so firstly, I would have to reach back to my project management background. For every single parish youth council, there should be a structured budget of things and plans that they want to have, which is smart, scientific, measurable, accurate, researchable, and all of these are needed to have a technical and a full-on structured plan. Now, with that, we will then look into it and look to see, all right, hey, St. Anne, St. Mary, these are projects that can be done, and also with partnerships from local and private sector as well. So when you sit on a board like that, it's always good to hear from the councils itself, and we will have a strategic meeting with each council to see what are the priority needs right now for that council as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Powell. Ms. Robinson, over to you with your question.
Thank you. Good night. Checking. Everyone hearing me?
Yes, we can hear
Hearing
you.
you.
Lovely. All right, so we've heard a lot of persons talk about partnerships, and that's typically something that all persons in leadership pivot to. However, Mr. Powell, what is your actionable plan to help these PYCs, especially those in rural areas, to maintain and gain new members so that we can have our events? Because you cannot have an event if you do not if you are not able to sustain your members. So what is your plan to help these communities to become active again, as well as to maintain members and continue with their growth as well?
Good question. And that pivots to what I would state revitalizing not only inactive clubs, but also having a agenda for each parish youth council to follow. Now, one of the things that I would have put forward would have been the quarterly impact program. This is a program that I don't want to say will just be a part of each parish youth council's mandate, but it also proves to the point of what is needed. So for the upcoming, let's say hypothetically speaking, for the upcoming quarter, let's say that our aim is eco-sustainability and mental well-being. So this will now be a mandate for every parish youth council, especially in the rural area, to make sure that we engage all the youths to make sure that this is a part of their mandate throughout the entire tenure. Now, when you talk about partnerships, you have to also have that feasibility plan or make that plan extremely feasible. So, as I would have stated before, when we sit down in a strategic meeting with all of the different parish youth councils, we will now see what is
Time,
necessary.
Lakem. Time. Thank you so much, Lakem, for your presentation and your response to the question, ladies and gentlemen. That was Lakem Powell, your candidate for second deputy chairman. Please put your hands together for Lakem. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome among us our outgoing chairman, Mr. Andrew Johnson, and also I want to welcome Miss Leanna Walker, or policy analyst within the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth, and Information. Thank you so much for joining us.
Madam Moderator, if you'll allow me, probably 1 quick minute.
Sure.
Yes. All right. So not to interfere with the presentation or Mr. Powell's responses to the question, but as it concerns the YIC, I'm very happy that that question was raised a while ago, because earlier today I had a meeting, a one-on-one at first with Miss Yannick, the head of the youth division, and then after that meeting, I had a meeting with some of the key leaders or managers within the youth division. And one of the discussion items was the youth innovation centers. We looked at those that were functional, those that are semi-functional, and those that are non-existent. So that is definitely an area that we are going to be focusing on, because like I said to the youth leaders today, we want to have these centers right across the island. And following that meeting, I had a sit down with PS to raise those concerns with her. And I just want to make quick mention. I won't go into too much details now. Of course, we'll have other opportunities to share. But one of the things that Minister Dana Morris Dixon wants us to do, she doesn't want us to merely have these youth innovation centers. We're also looking at, totally remodeling our libraries, making them more attractive. So Hanover was just used as an example. What we want to do is to look at some of the spaces in some of these parishes to see how we can have, like, a one-stop shop. So it's more than the traditional YIC setup. We want to see how we can merge into the library. We don't want to have these typical libraries with just books. We want to have set up like, a Starbucks, Cafe Blue, that kind of similar setup, digital aspect, and vibes up, a place where the young people will be interested in going. So as far as possible, what we want to do is to create these extensions or these centers. So there's a lot of work that will be done from the senior leadership in the ministry, at the ministerial and PS's level, to kind of boost and upgrade that. And in terms of funding too, that's also another area we looked at. Yannick and some of the youth leaders did mention a need for greater funding or support in various regards, not just for the youth innovation centers. But one of the things I made very clear before we can even look at additional funding for some of these projects, we want to make sure that we have these youth innovation centers or these reimagine youth innovation centers merge into our libraries, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we have those up and running, functional, really operating at a certain level. And then now we can look at upgrading and injecting more resources. So I'm very happy I'm in for this kind of discussion. You can proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, State Minister. That was
Th-
actually needed for us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul, and thank you so much, Minister. I'm very sure that our young people are happy to hear the update that you just shared. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a State Minister, Miss Rhoda Moy Crawford. All right, thank you so much. Moving right along, we are going to welcome our next candidate for second deputy chairman, Mr. O'Shane Dixon. Mr. O'Shane, you have 3 minutes to present your manifesto, after which you will have 3 questions to answer, one from your co-candidate and 2 from the audience. Over to you when you're ready, Mr. Dixon.
All right, thank you for that, Madam Moderator. All right, so greetings, young leaders of Jamaica and members of our great National Youth Council of Jamaica. I am O'Shane Dixon, your candidate for the second deputy chairman for NYCG. This is a mission, and it's about ensuring that every single young person in this nation is empowered, marketable, and successful. I come to you as the former president of the Portmore Municipality Youth Council, and now I'm ready to take on the mandate as second deputy chairman of the NYCJ. So you would have all seen the slogan Oshi, but it's more than just a slogan, it's a philosophy. So for far too long, we have heard promises without plans, but today we take a roadmap. My mission is simple to you, to just transform our youth space. My goal is to create efficient programs that can build your careers, build your character, and build your communities. So what does me as second deputy look like? We will ensure that all parishes are assisted and supervised in project management and creation. We will create a system in which we aid all PYCs to formulate projects within their areas for the youths they serve. Not only that, we will also be supporting you with your projects, and we will be carrying out projects at the national level, such as health fairs and mental health seminars, back to school initiatives, entrepreneurship forums, and we'll be launching our Young Youth Awards along with Youth Club Awareness Expos and Symposiums. We will launch a national volunteer program, and under that program, we will have the Youth Care program where we go into communities to assist struggling youths, providing them welfare and support. So this can include high school personal development sessions to feed the homeless projects. We will ensure that the NYCJ is a visible youth organization throughout Jamaica, and it is felt throughout all the parishes. All right, and we will also reintroduce our violence prevention program for young persons who are having issues in high crime rate communities, and we will assist them with conflict and dispute resolution and provide them with good governance and morals. We will ensure that we are building partnerships for your talent as young people. So the NYCJ during the Emancipendence celebration will come alive with a national cultural symposium in which all parish youth councils can play their part, and we will have regular socials and entertainment activities for all of our youth council members to connect with each other. And we will put in place activities to preserve and protect our environment. So as a result, we want to ensure that our planet is sustained and our natural resources as well. Jamaica, the time for business as usual is over. We need leadership that is accountable. We need leadership that is proven. We need a roadmap that leads somewhere. We need to get these plans going instantly for the benefits of our youths. My name is O'Shane Dixon. Thank you.
Thank you. Right on. Thank you so much, O'Shane. Now I'm gonna allow Mr. Lakem Powell to pose his question if he have one. Mr. Powell,
Yes.
do you have a
Okay.
question for Mr. Dixon?
No problem, no problem. So, question, seeing that you said you're previous president for Portmore municipality, basically. So let me say this. How do you reconcile your bid for national leadership with the concerns from St. Catherine youth clubs about insufficient support and engagement under your watch?
All right. All right. So that's your question. That is your that is the end of your question?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. All right, so I can speak about the achievements that have been made while I was the president of the Portmore Municipality Youth Council. So that's where I will go. I will speak about the increased number of youth clubs that were added to the National Youth Council's database, over 40% increase. I will speak of the different projects and programs that we had implemented while being on the Portmore Youth Council executive, such as the Spellings Bee competition, such as our Youth Cultural Expo, showcasing all the youth clubs in Portmore. And through that expo, it allowed for many of the youths of the Portmore to know about the National Youth Council of Jamaica and also the Portmore Youth Council, while having them engage in the different youth clubs that were made available as well. I have had empowerment sessions, charitable donations to inner city communities within Portmore as well. So this is some of the achievements I will definitely speak on as my tenure during the Portmore Municipality Youth Council.
All right, thank you so much for that response, Mr. Dixon. And now I'm only able to take two questions from the audience. I saw Mr. Cunningham's hand first and Mr. Walters.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Dixon. How are you? I noticed in your
Good evening, sir.
presentation
I'm doing
you mentioned two of five pillars that you are supposed to focus on as deputy chair. You mentioned coordinating a youth volunteer program and some national programs. I still haven't heard much about finance. As we asked earlier, how much, Mr. Dixon, from your research going into the position of deputy chair, how much does the ministry currently allocate to the National Council annually, and how do you plan on allocating these allocations to the parishes to ensure that there is equity to all parish councils?
All right, thank you for that question, Shavoy. All right, in terms of the allocation towards the National Youth Council of Jamaica, what I can say is that the budget is not set in stones. So what, as the national second deputy, what will happen is that I will draft a proposal that will ensure that it incorporates all the activities that are within the National Youth Council of Jamaica and how this proposal can be used to adjust the budget so that the government can be able to provide the efficient funding for the different programs that are within the institution of the National Youth Council of Jamaica.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dixon. Mr. Walters, over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fennell. Alrighty, Mr. Dixon, your manifesto outlines several ambitious national programs. However, leadership is ultimately judged by results, not promises. You did mention that you're the former president of the Portmore Municipality Youth Council. What measurable outcomes or lasting initiatives from your tenure can you point to as proof that you have already delivered real impact? And if those results are not clearly visible in Portmore, why should youths across Jamaica trust you to successfully deliver these programs at the scale of the National Youth Council of Jamaica?
All right, thank you for that question. All right, so I'll point back to my response that I would have given in terms of the increase in the number of youth clubs, the visibility of the Portmore Municipality Youth Council, where you can ask youths and they will tell you about the Portmore Municipality Youth Council comparing to where has been in the past. I will speak of the different outreach that we have accomplished in the different communities. For example, in the Newlands communities, where during the Easter time, and we would have donated bun and cheese to the different youths, the different youths that are in the community. We would have made visits to the Basic School, Marlene Avenue Basic School as well in Portmore, where we'd have reached out to youths. So that is a staple to know that these persons who would have benefited from the projects of the Portmore Municipality Youth Council would have seen the results that the Youth Council has, and they would have made a testament of the good works of the former tenure of our Youth Council. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dixon, for your responses and your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. O'Shane Dixon, your candidate for second deputy chairman. Please put your hands together for Mr. Dixon. Thank you so much, O'Shane. And we are coming down nicely, and I want to see the emojis going up right now because we are on our last set of candidates vying for the position of chairman. And know this is a highly anticipated moment that we are stepping over into. So, ladies and gentlemen, send up the emojis. Let me know how you're feeling. Seems like you guys not ready yet for the next set of candidates. How are you feeling? All right, thank you so much. So, candidates, listen carefully as the rules change just a little bit. So, let me go over the list of candidates again that we have for the position for national chairman. We have Mrs. Christine Salmon Neal, we have Miss Michaela Brown, we have Miss Omalora Wilson. So, candidates will be getting 5 minutes to present their manifesto. They have 4 questions to answer, 1 from each co-candidate and 2 from the audience. So that's 5 minutes to present your manifesto, 4 questions to answer, 1 from each co-candidate and 2 from the audience. All right, so we are going to take them in this order. Mrs. Salman Neal, then we have Miss Michaela Brown, and then we have Miss Omalora Wilson. So, Mrs. Neal, over to you when you are ready.
Thank you, Mrs. Fennell. Good evening, youth leaders and leaders of Jamaica. My name is Christine Salmon Neal, and I am vying for the position of chairman for the National Youth Council of Jamaica. Many of us know the feeling of working hard in our youth clubs and communities, yet sometimes we struggle to find resources, support, or opportunities to grow. I believe youth leadership should not be about struggle alone. It should be about opportunity. That is why my vision for the National Youth Council of Jamaica is built on 3 simple ideas: create, connect, and conquer. Now, why is NYCJ important? Before I speak about create, connect, and conquer, it is important to understand that the National Youth Council of Jamaica is not just an organization. It is the voice, the bridge, and the engine of youth development in this country. When the NYCJ is strong, youth clubs receive more support, training, and opportunities. Youth voices are better represented in national decision making. More resources reach communities across Jamaica. But when the NYCJ is weak or disconnected, youth leaders are left to struggle on their own. That is why my vision is not just about programs. It is about strengthening the NYCJ so it can better serve every young person in Jamaica. Because when we strengthen the NYCJ, we can strengthen youth development across the entire nation. My vision is to empower every Jamaican youth with tools, opportunities, and networks to turn potential into purpose. I believe every young people cannot spend their time waiting for opportunities. We should be creating them, connecting our communities, and conquering the challenges holding us back. Let's look at the first pillar of my manifesto: create. Youth leadership should open doors, not close them. That is why I want to strengthen partnership with institutions like Hard Trust NSTA so youth leaders can earn while they learn through apprenticeships and training programs. I also want to expand leadership certification opportunities for youth council and youth club leaders so that the work we do translates into real skills and real opportunities. Let's look at how we connect communities. Too many young people feel disconnected from opportunities simply because of where they live. I want to advocate for youth access points in every parish, ensuring that youth clubs and young leaders can access information on grants, trainings, and programs that help them grow. The National Youth Council of Jamaica should act as a bridge, connecting youth with resources, partners, and opportunities across Jamaica. Let's look at how we will conquer any obstacles that may come our way. Leadership must be trained, confident, and sustainable. I will work with partners to organize parish level workshops in areas like leadership, development, project management, financial literacy, and advocacy. Because when we invest in youth leaders, we are investing in stronger communities. My journey in youth leadership has taken me across grassroots youth groups in my community, to parish leadership in St. Mary, to national leadership within the NYCJ, and to representing Jamaican youth internationally. Through each step, I have learned that youth leadership works best when it is practical, inclusive, and focused on real opportunities. This campaign is not just about one person. It is about building a stronger youth movement for Jamaica. When we strengthen the youth organization, we strengthen opportunities for every young person, whether you are in a youth club, a school, a community group, or simply trying to find your path. This means more training and job pathways for youth, more support for youth clubs in their communities, more stronger advocacy for issues affecting young people, more opportunities reaching rural and underserved areas. In other words, a stronger NYCJ means a stronger future for Jamaican youth. Together, we can create opportunities, connect communities, and conquer the barriers holding youth back. I invite you to join me in building a stronger, smarter, more empowered Jamaica, one youth leader at a time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Neal. And so we are going to take the 2 questions from your co-candidates at this time. Not sure who want to go first. Miss Omalora Wilson, Miss Michaela Brown. Do you have a question for Mrs. Neal? All right.
I do. Are you hearing me?
Hearing you now.
Hello, my fellow woman in leadership. I hope you are doing great. I had one question as it pertains to actualizing how it is that you're going to include every youth. How is it that we're going to get them actively involved?
Thank you for that question. Now, when we think about including every youth, we have to think about the fact that every person on this call and every youth club member has a responsibility. So it's not just about me. It is about everyone coming together to positively impact youth, not just in their parish, but across Jamaica.
All right, thank you so much for your response, Mrs. Neal. Ms. Wilson, do you have a question for Mrs. Neal?
Let me see.
Not hearing you so clearly. Could you go again?
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, but there's a feedback.
Yeah. Mute one of your devices and disconnect the audio for one.
All right, I think I'm much better.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, Christine.
Hi.
Hey, Sean, happy to hear. My question for you, I was listening to your ideas. Something that caught my attention as well was you creating the central access point for the Youth Innovation Center, something that Mr. Carter would have been spoken about earlier. But with Hurricane Beryl passing and then Hurricane Melissa following behind, we have spaces in Western Jamaica, Northeastern Jamaica that has been severely affected, which is one of the reasons that I spoke about yesterday, why young people are not active right now. How do you plan to create this concept of a central point for access for young people in these vulnerable spaces with your ideas?
Thank you for that question. And I must say that it is true, with the disaster that just passed, it might be a bit hard, or it might seem a bit hard for us to create central points in these parishes. But I'm happy that earlier we heard about the plans to revitalize youth access points across parishes. Now, as I would have mentioned before, it takes a collective effort for us to create anything that we want to happen in this space. We have to ensure that parishes that were not affected badly by Hurricane Melissa, we can come together and we can visit these parishes and we can show youth that we're there to show up for them, provide mental health workshops, utilize spaces that have been already reestablish and ensure that these persons have a safe space, because right now they are really their mental health is being affected and we need to support them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your response, Mrs. Neal. All right, so we have two more questions to go. So we see, all right, Mr. Cunningham, you may go ahead. Then we have Mrs. Minot.
Good evening, Madam Neal. How are you? You were recently president of the St. Mary Parish Council and you served as National Secretary of National Council of Jamaica. I've seen you outline a lot of plans, but based on your experience in the council, how do you intend to use all these years of experience serving to positively influence the National Council of Jamaica? See,
Mr.
previous year, you've served the team. How do you
Mr.
believe
Cunningham,
you can? Hello?
Can you repeat your question? You chipped out for a moment.
I'm so sorry. I'm saying you were.
All right, still not hearing you, Mr. Cunningham. Assuming that you have some technical challenges. Mr. Cunningham?
Hello?
Can you go ahead? Can you go one more time with your question?
I'm so sorry. Are you guys hearing me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm saying you were president of the St. Mary Parish Youth Council, then you served in the capacity as General Secretary for the National Council of Jamaica. How do you intend to use all this experience working with the former chair and his transformational leadership? How do you intend to make a positive impact working with the person who created the transformation? How do you plan to bring new light to the council with all this experience and so on?
Thank you for that question, Shawai. Now, with my experience, I realized that if we want to reach youth across Jamaica, we have to do workshops and leadership trainings tailored specifically for each parish need. So what I would love to do with my team is to go out in each parish and investigate what their issues are and see how best we can create a plan of action for those specific needs.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Neal. Over to you, Mrs. Mike.
Good evening again, everyone. Hi, Mrs. Samuel. So I think my question kind of ties in with what Shavai just mentioned, because our outgoing chairman, everybody knows that he did exceptionally well. And there are a few things that he did that I noticed that you did not mention. My question is regarding the Chairman's Award, the Emerging Youth Leaders Award. There are some things that we just want to keep because those things would have made us better as a council. Do you have any plans to expand those, to work on those, to keep those? Do you have any plans to make better, let's say, what the outgoing chairman would have introduced to us?
Thank you for that question. And I must say, the outgoing chairman is here, and I must say, big up, Andrew. You and the team would have led National Youth Council to higher places. And I just want to say that these initiatives, we must keep them. But while we keep them, we must improve on them. And so if we realize we have, or second deputy chair who is in charge of some of these initiatives. And I would love for the team to work with these persons to improve on these initiatives and also to create new initiatives that can positively impact youth across Jamaica.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Neal. I know I said earlier 4 questions, but we are adding one more question to all chairman candidates, and this question will come from the outgoing chairman himself, Mr. Andrew Johnson. So, Mr. Johnson, do you have a question for Mrs. Neal at this time?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yes, man, thanks for the acknowledgement, and of course, a pleasure to be here. I really enjoyed the presentation. I'm looking forward to what the upcoming council will bring forward to the table. All right, so Mr. Samuel Neal, all right, question to you. All right, so if you're elected, I know that you'd have highlighted many plans, but if you're elected, what is one measurable outcome you want to achieve in the first 6 months, right? And how do you plan to deliver it? The intention of this question is to just give person a clear understanding as to what to expect in short term, and of course, wholly accountable to delivering it accordingly.
Thank you for that. So during our tenure, I would have realized that even though we have impacted the parish youth councils, we have not impacted the community youth-based organization as we would want to. And so I would love to go in each parish for the first 6 months and find out what their issues are specifically, and then create an action plan to do leadership trainings, capacity building workshops in these parishes tailored specifically for them so that we can empower the youth clubs to stand strongly on their 2 feet so that they can represent their parish and their youth in a better way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Neal. That was 5 questions. A lot, but we appreciate you answering all questions. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your chairman candidate, Mrs. Christine Salmon Neal. Put your hands together for Mrs. Neal. Thank you so much again, Christine. Next candidate is Miss Michaela Brown. Michaela, you have 5 minutes to present your manifesto. You'll be asked 5 questions, 2 from your co-candidates, 2 from the audience, and 1 from our outgoing chairman, Mr. Andrew Johnson. So, Miss Brown, when you're ready, you may take the floor.
I'm going to ask you for a few minutes because I do have something that I want to present.
Okay, no problem.
Seen my screen?
Yes, but it's blank.
It's black. All right, good.
Let me know when you're ready.
Will do. And you're seeing something now?
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jamaica. That is what I'm addressing tonight. My vision is akin to yours. It's a little simple. It is, well, no, actually, it's a big deal. My vision is a council that supports mentally, physically, spiritually, a council that is known by every youth. My name is Michaela Brown. And I just going to make you know a little bit about who I am before I jump into the actual meat of the matter. So, you probably heard it, that I was the Assistant Youth Coordinator of the Cornwall Court Community Citizens Association. You possibly heard that I was a Youth and Environmental Project Leader with the Bloomberg Philanthropies and the St. James Municipal Corporation. You probably heard that I'm a creative enthusiast, head girl, deputy head girl. Nonetheless, what you may not know, rather, is that I'm studying a bachelor's in computing in my first year at UTech. And I don't want you to use this to count me out, because Jamaica sets itself as my example. Me little, but me. All right. Now, who am I? I am a fresh voice, a new voice, and I'm a grassroots leader. And this is my mission. My mission is to position the National Youth Council of Jamaica in every youth space, serving to make space for every youth. Your underserved youth, your unattached youth, your youth at promise, your youth at risk, your youths with varied abilities. And so I have 5 pillars for you, 5 things that will guide my mission and my vision. Number 1, intentional youth development. If you've been seeing my campaigning, you've heard me talk about intentionality. Intentionality just speaks to the fact that we are going to be conscious, cognizant of the fact that every decision that we make impacts the youths of Jamaica. And so we can't just leave it up to chance. So, the first thing, a grounded council. And this doesn't just mean that we're going to be on the grounds or at the grassroots level. It means that we're going to be grounded in God, grounded in principles that align us with honesty, unity, community, empathy, and love. And so I know that this was something that the council would have done before, but we want to bring it back and even bring it to a greater level to propose and ensure and postulate unification at the national level. We want to value, or rather do value building leadership retreats. And I must say that I take inspiration from the University of Technology, Jamaica, who carry out leadership retreats for their leaders. Here, they ensure that leaders are rounded and ready and prepared for engagement, ready to speak to the youths. All right, we'll move on because I realize at the time moving a little fast. Number 2, respect and care at every stage. I told you that I was a bold visionary, and I want you to believe me, because now I am pushing a cultural shift. We want to have respectful communication campaigns that remind Jamaicans, that teach Jamaicans, that allow them to acknowledge the intentionality that we're just speaking about, that youths deserve care and respect at every stage. We want to advocate for conscious and constructive methods of discipline that ensure youth development is guided by empathy, respect, and intentionality. Somebody I spoke to I'm going to say a president, yes, of a council, and he said to me, a shocking testament, that a youth said to him that he could not believe that someone could tell him that he loves him. Jamaica, we don't need to do better. There needs to be respect and care at every stage. And this is how we're going to position the council to do exactly that. Moving on, oh gosh, I'm strapped for time. Civic pride. We want to bring, quote unquote, citizen kits closer to the youths. Picture this. A young girl walks into her YIC, Youth Innovation Center, and she's able to speak to her YEO, her Youth Empowerment Officer, and all she needs to do is submit a document that allows her to get the TRN. Get the learner's permit. Because what are we doing? We are invoking participation and empowerment for youths, that they have access and accessibility at every level. And I have 10 seconds left. We're going to wrap it up really soon. Creative approach, unlocking youth potential. It is unfortunate that so many of us as Jamaicans are given the natural gift that is skill. And yet we have no one to help us to build it up. Workshops are missing. We have entitled, or rather individuals who are capable at teaching us how to do it, how to picture in public speaking, how to factor in sculpting and pottery, how to do writing.
Time. Thank you so much, Michaela, for your presentation.
Thank you for having
Now
me.
we're going to take questions from your co-candidates, Mrs. Neal and Miss Wilson. Any question for Miss Brown? Just a reminder, Miss Brown, you have 1 minute to answer each question. All right, so going once again, Miss Neal, Mrs. Neal?
Yes,
or
I am
Miss...
here.
Okay, you may go ahead with your question.
Hi, Michaela.
Hello.
So my question for you is, Leadership often gets tested in moments of conflict or limited resources. Can you describe how you would handle a situation where key stakeholders disagree with your direction for NYCJ, and what principles will you guide your final decision?
Thank you so much. I pride myself in emotional intelligence for one, and so it's never the point that my decision has to be at the forefront, because we understand that when it is that you're serving on a council, it takes inclusivity of all input. Now, I must say that this comes from experience, because in my last year of high school, I would have led a youth project with the Bloomberg Philanthropies and the St. James Municipal Corporation, and there was conflict because there was a point that I believed that my vision was too great, and some people believed that it was not possible. No, it did work out in the end, but I must let you know that there were several principles that guided me. One, empathy. One, critical thinking. And three, communication, effective and active communication with stakeholders. Through all of that, effective communication, I must stress on that, I was able to not only one, align the vision or allow them to put the vision into perspective.
Miss Brown, time. Your 1 minute.
Thank
All right, thank you so much for your response. I will now take question from Miss Wilson.
Thank you so much. Hi, Michaela. Well done. My teacher is sat here, but well done, you. Well done, baby. My question actually, I listen and I've been listening to what you're saying. I've also been listening to what the parish president potentials have been saying, and also the executive earlier on. And one of our problems that we're going to be facing, any one of us to be elected, you, me, or Christine, is funding and support for initiatives, because while we are here leading at the top, these are the persons that are executing. I didn't see you present that. I want to know what is your plan for that in terms of funding activities, initiatives, and even what you have in mind. How do you plan to fund such thing? Yeah.
Thank you. So you're giving me the opportunity to speak on the last slide, which would have spoken to unlocking financial opportunities with an environmental approach. And I keep referring back to the project leadership that I would have done 2 times. And I would have been able to receive funding from an international body in order to serve or carry out an environmentally led youth project. This is a possibility that we want to bring with the National Youth Council of Jamaica, seeking partnerships with national or rather non-governmental organizations to provide that financial support from an environmental standpoint. There is also, and I know this is something that I believe is done, but it is fraction. It is not ubiquitous or done with unity throughout the councils. And so a simple act in that environmental approach is recycled bottles, getting them, establishing buyback partnerships with beverage companies and recycling firms so that we can generate a little income from something
Time. Thank you so much, Miss Brown. Thank you. Now for your next question, that will be coming from Mr. Johnson.
All right, Michaela. Likewise, share the same sentiments. Like Christine, very well done. Of course, I want to give you the opportunity to, show the general public that you're ready, despite being new, right? I know many persons have been echoing that you're a new person, a fresh face, but you obviously highlighted the strong experience you bring, right? And likewise, when I became chairman, I was also very new, but nevertheless, I was ready, and of course, did my very best to advance the council. So, given that you're new to the council, especially at the executive level, the highest level of executive, what is the biggest gap you see in your readiness for the chairman role, and how do you plan to close it quickly?
My biggest gap is not being able to be on the ground where and when I want to be, because I am ready to take National Youth Council Jamaica right back to the grassroots where I'm coming from. That's the biggest gap, and I wish to close it very promptly.
Thank you so much, Miss Brown, for your response. And now I will take question from the audience in this order. Rihanna Robinson, then Giovanni McLaughlin.
Thank you. So I have been listening to all of the presentations, and many persons would have spoken about seminars or going into specific communities to do initiatives. However, what is your actionable plan to bring innovation to the parishes, and how will the success of these projects be measured while maintaining initiatives established by the previous council?
Beautiful. So one of the policies, or if we're going to use the national youth policy, we can speak to political participation and empowerment. And one of the initiatives that I would have put forward is that we want to bring citizenship closer to the youths. So accessibility as it pertains to the receiving or getting the incumbent documents that they need in order to be registered and full citizens. So your government ID, your learner's permit, your TRN, the innovation that comes in this is that we want to engage our government to have mobile services for the youths, going into their community, removing disparities and inequalities and ensuring that the rural, back to the marginalized, back to the privileged youths have access to documents that would make them sustainable and standing citizens. I hope that answers your question. Our question.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. Final question from Giovanni McLaughlin.
All right, good afternoon. Are you hearing me?
Hearing you.
All right, I want to say first of all, it was a very good presentation. I enjoyed listening to you. You start a two-part question. You started off talking about how you want to expand the brand of the National Youth Council of Jamaica. I want to understand how are you going to target those who know nothing really of youth leadership in our country, because truth and in fact, the persons who know about it are the persons who are taking up the spaces in these certain situations. For example, persons in NSSC, these persons are the same persons who are coming to the JPA events. I want to understand how we're going to push past those same people to get to the persons who really don't even know what a JPAs or a National Youth Council, any of these organizations, even a key club. And with that being said, what is your lasting impact that we could hear and say, Miss Brown did that in her year?
Wow. All right. If I drop off anything, just remind me so I can be ensured to include it.
All right.
For one, I am one of those youths. I am new to the council. You would know that. But I am not new to leadership, and this is the case for many youths. They actively engage at the grassroots level, they actively lead, yet somehow, well, let me not say somehow, yet they do not know that they have a council that is there to represent and stand for them. And so this is, if you've been hearing the entire presentation, I would have dropped on you say, social revamping, because we want it to be that the youths know about us in the digital space that we can actually grab them in. And then physically, we want to be in our school tours. We want to invade every space that there is a youth so that we can make space for them. What may miss out? You did ask me something else.
What is the one thing you want to say, the lasting impact when people looking back at your if you do get it, Miss Brown did that and I always will remember it.
Miss
I'll
Brown.
join in just a minute. Sorry. Angie, you're muted and I know you're talking.
Thank you. Time. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Miss Brown, for your presentation. Thank you, audience, for your questions and the responses that you give to the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your chairman candidate, Miss Michaela Brown. Put your hands together for her. And I'm about to do this last vibe check, and we cannot take the next presentation without the energy and the vibes. And so we are down to one last presentation. And coming up next is Miss Omalora Wilson. We have 100 people here online. And I want to see at least 50 emojis going up. How are you feeling? How are we feeling? All right.
Good evening, everyone. Anjali.
Yes.
Join. But it look like me miss out a lot. Me just get the opportunity to join. But
Yes.
based on me here, say over here at
over here at Pichu, I mean, I'm a fan. But
Lord Jesus.
Yeah, thank God the rain is falling. So if anything at home, the windows when I finish.
Oh
All
my
right.
God. But
Over
it's
here
good
at.
to hear. But it's good to hear. It's good to hear. It's good to hear.
So good to have you, Jerome. So good to have you. I know Mr. Danvers want to join, and we're at capacity. But we're winding down nicely.
Awesome.
Somebody was saying something?
Yes, miss. I had a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are these are for the national candidates application?
Yes, for the national candidates. Last night we had for the parish candidates. Did you get my answer to your question?
Wait, you're saying that the regional have already been done?
The parish, yes, yesterday.
Sorry.
Do you
Oh,
have
and
a
today?
concern? If you have a concern, could you just
Angie?
go ahead, Mr. Garrett?
Yes, I think we have some students here as well from NSSC and JPA. Perhaps they're not aware, but this is the National Youth Council of Jamaica Manifesto presentation, not the NSSC or JPA. So probably that's what they're asking about.
Oh, thank
Okay, thank you
you.
for the clarity.
So for the
Don't worry.
JPA, when is that?
Can I give you, I'll give you the information after our final presentation. I'll give all the information that you guys will need in terms of election for this one and also for the presentation for NSSC and JP right after our last presenter.
Thank you. I had a heart attack.
That's fine, no problem. Thank you so much for asking your question also. All right, and so we will now take our final candidate, Miss Omalora Wilson. You will have 5 minutes to present your manifesto. You'll be asked 5 questions, 2 from your co-candidates, 1 from your outgoing chairman, and 2 from the audience. All right, you have 1 minute to answer each question. Over to you. Please let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I am sharing my screen. So just let me know when you're seeing my screen.
In your beautiful face.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Wilson. I am a youth leader and advocate, a queen, and of course, a servant leader of the people who have spent years working with youth people across Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. I've built systems, I'm creating opportunities, and I'm ensuring that youth voices are heard and, of course, respected. And I am a people person. I'm Miss Lou incarnate, honestly. I listen, I connect, and most importantly, I act. I'm a director of marketing and communications with the Spread the Love initiative in Maxfield that brings the community together with various initiatives, including Bring Back the Love that we have in December. I'm the co-founder of Positive Youth, Powerful Energy and the Science Seal Jamaica in my home community of Newmarket, where we do biennial summer art school and have worked with numerous youth groups and workshops. Them said true to this, we're not new to this, not true. And one thing I have learned throughout my journey is young people, we're always ready. And our organizations, the youth organizations, the community-based youth organization, we're doing the work. But far too often, we're doing it without support, without enough structure, and just without enough access. And so it's truly an honor to be here tonight as a candidate for the national chairman for the National Youth Council of Jamaica. It's about people, it's about purpose, and it's about the future of the youth across Jamaica. And as such, I'm here to present my manifesto to you. And my manifesto is simple. I have a song going out right now. It says, with Malora, you should know. And that's my manifesto. You should know. I'm also attaching a digital copy in the chat so you can read it. But Mallory, you should know. You don't need to guess. You don't need to hope. You don't need to wonder, because you should know. And what does know look like for us? So let's start off with K. We want to keep youth at the center because leadership must start with listening. So in all the ideas that I have presented, too often we make decisions based on what we think youth need, but not what they're actually experiencing. And under my leadership, we want to launch a youth first agenda. That's a national collection of priority youth issues gathered directly from young people across the parish. We're not assuming, we're knowing it's data, it's voices, it's real experiences. And beyond that, using the parish chairs to get this information, we want to strengthen national youth advocacy. So that means, guess what? You're going to see we in the newspaper and a letter to the editor. You're going to hear our voices on the radio. You're going to see us sitting in municipality meetings with the parish council. And the youth voices will be responding to national issues and parliamentary discussion. Because knowing with Omalora, if we are not speaking in national spaces, then we're not influencing national decisions. And so with Omalora, you want to keep youth at the center. With Omalora as well, you want to be able to network and organize. Right now, one of our biggest issues is not effort. Right now, potential kid will tell us, yeah, pay potential we have over here. Say, you're so nice, you're so nice, you're so nice. But we have this connection. We have strong youth organizations at the community level, at the grassroots level, but they're not always connected, informed, or supported by each other. So with Omalora, we want to establish a structured national communication system in collaboration with the PRO, so that the opportunities, the updates, and the information reach every parish in real time. I need to hear St. Mary, I said them don't know about it, but Kingston and St. Andrew hear about it from last week. We know what I'm saying, and I said, how comes this a go on? But Manchester didn't know a long time. And so we want to ensure that opportunities, updates, and information reach them. We want to strengthen our digital presence, because if young people can't see NYCJ, they're not going to engage with NYCJ. So we are there with the TikTok trends. We're there with the Instagram reel. We want to meet the community-based youth organization. We want you to meet the team where you know our digital presence is a priority. Because and importantly, we want to initiate a standing committee for constitutional review and financial stability, because let's be real. If our systems are outdated, we cannot move forward effectively. And if our finances are unclear, we cannot grow sustainably. So I want to work with my financial controller to ensure that this is a priority for our next 2 years. So we are review, we are modernized, and we are stabilized. And then with Omalora, opportunities and funding. So let's talk honestly. Youth organizations, we're rich in ideas, but we're poor in our resources. We can't talk about it. We're in the room right now. But under my leadership, walking the Wilson way, we are establishing an NYCJ sponsorship and partnership desk. Angelina, tell me some time gone already, So we're actively engaging corporate We're actively engaging corporate Jamaica to develop partners and community business. We're not waiting. We are engaging, we are pitching, we are securing from early. And of course, we don't want to have it just at the national level. So we want to have partnerships to train and organize with our deputy chair, our community-based organizations, the youth-based. Everybody must know how to do budgeting, proposal writing, and pitching, because we want to do much, but it take cash for care. You understand me? I've already started the conversation.
Time. Thank you so much, Miss Wilson, for your presentation. And now we will take questions. I see Amanda have a question, and I'm going to go ahead. After we have our co-candidates, Amanda, I will ask your question. So, co-candidates, over to you, Mrs. Neal and Miss Brown.
Miss Wilson, thank you for your presentation. That was great, by the way. I have a question for you. Many youth initiatives lose momentum after one term. What systems or structures would you put in place to ensure that the impact of your leadership continues beyond your tenure as chairman?
Okay, that's it, right, Christine?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good. Thank you. Can you give me a little time to squeeze back the W, Christine? One of the reasons why we lose momentum is that there's not investment in us. You understand me? And we're pouring and pouring and pouring, but you can't pour from empty cup. And so what we are trying to do is ensure that we have wellness and development as a priority under my leadership. So we take care of one people. How are we doing that? We want to ensure that people are ready mentally through opportunities. So we want to have real-life forums that focus on mental health, financial literacy, documentation, and job readiness. My co-candidate spoke about it earlier. But one was you know how to apply for your bank loan, one was you know to invest, one you have a health card, one you have a driver's license, a passport, you know, if you go get your visa. That's what we want to do. So you want to feel that NYCJ is investing in you the way you're investing in them. Not only that, but we want to have cultural and social development. We want a Mr. and Miss NYCJ, because I see how that has helped me as a queen. And of course, we want to have concerts, talent shows, 5Ks, and of course, continue the awards ceremony that our chairman would have done, and of course, the NYCJ weekend. And most importantly, Christine,
Thank you so much, Miss Wilson. All right, next question from Miss Brown.
I feel like you do a good job with the coverage, But I do have one question. We want advocacy, yeah, but we want measurable actions. So give me one of them. What you feel? Give me a SMART goal that you would have had outlined, and how you feel like, it on the ground, at the grassroots level, how it can impact.
Okay, great. So it brings me right back to my first point about having youth first agendas. Like I say, I want to ensure that the issues that we're tackling at NYCJ, I know we at the head just deciding, say, all right, then we want to do this. We want the people in the community, the young people at the grassroots level, to be able to communicate with their parish youth presidents to say, this is what is bothering us right now. We need the message to go up to the higher heads. And then we tackle that issue in the national space. So reaching out to letters to the editors to say, listen, this is what is affecting young people. Unemployment is a priority. Sexual and reproductive health is lacking, etc., etc. And it allows persons to zoom in on NYCJ to say, but queer, NYCJ have people who know them stuff. And as time progresses, there's investment and spotlight on us because people know so we are ready. If our MP or a minister does a presentation that does not include young people, NYCJ is on it. How do we measure that? We measure it by looking at how many persons are invested in NYCJ, what is the return on investment in terms of new people applying throughout the community, and of course, how do we
Thank you so much, Ms. Wilson, for your response. All right, we will now take the question from Mr. Johnson.
All right, Ms. Wilson, thanks a lot for that presentation. I'm going to try to ask a question. I do have to go over there 1 minute. All right, so it's the same question to you. As I've asked Ms. Michaela earlier. I know you come with a lot of experience, Ms. Wilson, and of course you're new, very new to the executive, and of course you'll be on the parish level, right? So I want you to tell me the biggest gap you have seen in your readiness, and of course I also know that you're, a past UA Guild President, Festival Queen, a lot of national hats, right? But of course I want to tell you that there are a lot of unpopular decisions that you have to make, especially at this level of leadership, right? But of course, I know you'd have faced that in the past. So just give me a specific situation where you have faced an unpopular, you have to make an unpopular decision, and of course, how that experience prepare for this level of council leadership.
And you know how you expect to do that in 1 minute, but I'm going to try. Listen, you're right. I have had experience in leadership. I've done quite a lot from maybe a high school coming right now in my big age. And oftentimes a part of leadership is just realizing that not everybody on the committee is going to work with you and not everybody is going to agree with you. But the thing about servant leadership is that you're serving someone. So it is always your constituencies that you're serving that is a priority here, and never just who is supporting you in the room. I've had cases working at the University of West Indies as the guild president where I had to move away from the popular choice and the popular opinion and focus on what is important for students. It happened every single day. How I take on that, especially as a girl, for someone who loves to see people happy and always trying to make sure that everybody happy, is I'm always thinking about what the young people want. What does my constituency want and see, and what is better for them? And so even though I don't think my exec and I are going to always see eye to eye, we're going to have debates. We're intellectual people. But what I will continue to
bring... Thank you so much, Miss Wilson. All right, so we're moving over to our audience. And no, Mr. Kevon and Mr. Lewis had their hand up. However, I have to take this question from the chat. And so I'll take Amanda's question. I'm going to read it. And then I will take Mr. Lewis' question. All right, so question from Amanda Slew in the chat says, how will you ensure your executives are effective leaders, not token appointments, and that their leadership results is genuinely meaningful and productive to youth participation?
All right. Thank you so much for that question, Angie. I want to process it because you read it to me. So go on again. One more time.
All right. So let me read it again. It says, how will you ensure your executives are effective leaders, not token appointments, and that their leadership results is genuinely meaningful and productive to youth participation?
All right. Thank you so much. The thing about it is, while I'm holding them accountable, I also want the National Youth Council on a whole to be able to hold them accountable. But my priority is to ensure that, one, my executive and just the wider body overall, all my club leaders, my presidents are fully equipped and trained in leadership skills and professionalism. It's a part of my manifesto, actually, where we are ensuring that we have county consultation sessions, that we have our annual general meeting done. And a part of our annual general meeting is to plan and prepare, and then the consultation is to review and create strategies that actually work. And of course, my feedback is always going to be generated from the people. If your council is saying that you're not working, if your group is not saying that you're not working, we need to do an assessment of what you're doing wrong and to ensure that you have the opportunity to do better. I'm not about dismissing people without giving them a chance to prove themselves. And so our training sessions in working with my deputy chair, our training session for community leaders, that's our presidents across the board, will prioritize this.
Time. Thank you so much, Miss Wilson. I will now take question from Mr. Lewis.
All right, thank you. Good night, everybody. Special good night, Omi. Yeah, good to see you. I was rooting for you because born and bred in St. Elizabeth when you're festival queen. But the meat of the matter, I know that you're not new to leadership, but you are new to NYCJ somewhat. And let me also say commendations to the outgoing chair who did a fairly good job. But what I want to know, what is your plans to revitalize dormant organizations and also strengthen the active one? I realize that we are having a struggle there, using even St. Elizabeth as a perfect example where only 2 persons are candidates there. So what are your plans?
All right. Thank you so much for that, Rajay. What's crazy is you're right. I have not been in the executive space of the National Youth Council. So while I will work with Bring Back the Love, I never really take up myself and say, I go up and no committee, but stay in a little can and do my thing. My intention actually was to go back to St. Elizabeth, to be St. Elizabeth parish president, because I have found myself so invested recently or in the past in just building my parish itself, especially for Hurricane Melissa and how much I have given to that space. I wanted to go back. But when I shared my will, someone said to me, this is not just a St. Elizabeth problem. We want you across the space. Oh my Lord, you're new to this. People know you. And not only that, you have the power to pull people with potential to foster the growth. And it's okay, I can say it. When I post my campaign graphic, a lot of people reach out asking, what is NYCJ? How we can vote? What is and what that? And these are things that we want to see. We want to see growth within our space. Yes, my intention, especially for dormant communities, I want to use my first 60 days to assess fully what we have in front of us as NYCJ. What are the closest communities? Are they meeting?
Time.
Angeline? All right.
Thank you so much, Omalora, for your presentation and the responses to the questions that were posed. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was your chairman candidate, Miss Omalora Wilson. Keep those applause going. Thank you so much, Miss Wilson. All right, so there we have it. All candidates, from your chairman to your treasurer, your public relations officer, your GenSec, your first deputy and second deputy chairman. Those are your candidates. You've heard it all. And so what I want to give to you at this time is just some information. Take a moment to reflect on the things shared this evening, because we have big decisions to make in the next few days. And it's not just that we are in the heat of election and we feel excited. These are decisions that will affect the young people that we serve. And so we must make these intentional decisions for our young people. And so on March 20th, the polls will be open. It closes March 21st at 11:59 p.m. One key thing that I want to remind you of is that registration for delegates close tonight. So if you don't register your delegate yet, don't let tonight pass. Don't let 11:59 pass, because you will not have a chance in the voting process. So please ensure that your club register the delegate to vote in the election. Again, election open March 20th, closes on March 21st. first. Also, I want to acknowledge our JPA and our NSSC students. Yes, so you will be given information in terms of the process for your election period. However, coming up is your public speaking 101 session, and that is March 19 at 7 p.m. All right, so the schedule will be shared. So, on behalf of the National Youth Council of Jamaica, I would like, and the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, particularly the Youth Division, I want to extend sincere gratitude to all our candidates this evening for their insightful and inspiring presentations today. Your passion, your vision, and your commitment to youth development are truly commendable. Put your hands together for our candidates, ladies and gentlemen. To our audience, thank you for your active participation, your questions, and engagement throughout this process. Your involvement plays a vital role in strengthening transparency and accountability within our organization. So, as we conclude, we encourage everyone to reflect on the ideas shared and continue to support strong, effective youth leadership across Jamaica. Thank you all for being a part of this important process.
Angeli, before you go, I want
Yes.
to also commend you for the excellent way in which you've handled the discussions, the strictness with the time. I mean, I was so impressed. I was supposed to have left after 20 minutes to head into another meeting, but based on how you were conducting the session and listening to the presentations from the candidates and hearing the questions from the floor, I had to tell the other persons in the meeting that it doesn't look like I can join them again. I'm really, really impressed. Really impressed. I know that great things are going to happen. And, listening to the chairman candidates, the vice chair, deputy chair, I am confident that whoever emerges victor, that we are going to see some positive transformation. And, the youth division, myself as state minister, senior minister Dana Morris Dixon, our permanent secretary, we stand ready to give additional support to this youth group. We really want to inspire the youth and to reach some more young people who feel, totally detached from the process. And, so I didn't want to say too much or interject too much because I don't want to interfere with the outcome of the elections. But when I listened to the presentations and I heard some of the candidates touching on some of the plans that I have and some of the direction we want to go in, I was so, so impressed. So I'm really going to be following this closely. And to the candidates, please, please, please keep the elections clean. Remember your role models. What we want to do is to inspire, so we don't want any tear down campaign. Just focus on your plans, what you want to do, how you plan to move the organization forward. And, let's have a nice, clean election. And I really look forward to the outcome. And definitely I'll be in touch. All the best. Have a good rest of the night. And like I said earlier, let's keep it clean. Remember that youth leaders today are our real national leaders tomorrow. We expect the leadership to not just stop here. We expect to see some of you as members of parliament, mayors, councillors, ministers, who knows, prime minister. So this is training ground and stamping ground. Enough love, enough support, and I'll be in touch.
Thank you so much, Minister, for sticking and staying. We appreciate your presence so, so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It was a well spent evening. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. And remember, make the wise decision for our young people of Jamaica. God bless you all.
I know everybody I go like we, still we irie. Come in no love likes, in a dancehall style. I know everybody I go like, still me irie. Cause we no love likes, no. So every time I rise, we do it for the love, we not do it for the likes. Do it for the love, we not do it for the likes. Do it for the love, we not do it for the likes. Do it for the love, we not do it for the likes. Success don't come overnight. No make them know a substance over hype. Do it for the love, me not do it for the life. Enough of them love likes, that don't right. See them on a post and a tweet all night. See them on social media type. While like say them they a studio a vice. Oh me never put them up on no flight. And me never see them a live no tour life. You miss someone know you have so much likes. I'm always still a lead by iTunes. Simple mean we not ready yet. If we put the music first, that's all. While we there on a war and a hype. Work, dance all. When you see me, yes, I see I. And every tune when me never write. And every show where we headline. No, we not do it for the likes, but we tell them we do it for the love. We not do it for the light. What da da di da da di. Do it for the love, we not do it for the light. Never tell you if you bust and shot and quench them. Instead we tell them that they gonna buy a yen yen. Cause we do it for the love, we not do it for the light. Onto them, swing them not like we, but we not response. Fly out and make them love we from a distance. Come home for 2 weeks vacation. Enough of them still stuck in the quicksand. Enough to hear us say them are the big man. In a Jamaica, and them have the hit song. A gentleman, me hear a play a Finland. Me never hear them playing a Pakistan. That simple mean we not ready yet. That one like a you own dance all. While we there on a war and a hype. No take a control dance all. Give me a beat and a mic. Ready for the studio voice. But when me put that song up on my timeline. No, me not do it for the likes. But me tell them we do it for the love. We not do it for the likes. Jesus Christ, do it for the love. We not do it for the likes. Young into the beat, everybody move your feet. Girl, you know fit it, and me mama know fit it. After them. When we mix a tune and drop it like a bomb. Me no wanna waste guy a critique my song. Me no wanna media guy interpret me wrong. So make me give me credits in a dancehall fashion first. Big up Kalanji and the one Capleton. The Wild Apache and the one Ninja Man. Then big up the Killer and the one Beanie Man. King Yellow Man, Buru Buju Bantan. Early B, Nachina Simadidan. Me and Jamaica, him sister Diamond. And none of them nobody like Marianne. Ladies, you are real big man. Big up Lady Jika, you are the La Vegan. Big up Dirks, man, and even brother Papa San. Big up Gary Mine, I did not know I got done. Big up Kaneko, you are the tall Lakatan. Steal it, cleave it, Tony and Dave Kelly. Happy Digital General King Jammy. Exterminate and slay and rabbit. Stephen